Well, hello. This is the first of many, I hope, of series for Wapaho Wisdom. And I'm going to start off by telling you how I got that name. Um, I was born and raised in the Hudson Valley of New York. My father was Native American Iroquois, and his father was part Dutch, German, something like that. And my mother was Italian. Her whole family was from Italy. And my dad was a Skywalker. My mother met him and married him, and they had my brother. And then 5 years later, they had me. And um, I grew up in the Hudson Valley, and it was a wonderful place to live. It really was. You could walk all over town. It's a town of about 35,000 people when I was growing up, and you could just go anywhere and you were safe. There weren't child predators, there weren't rapists. I mean, it was really safe. And the Hudson Valley was a beautiful place to live. It really was. And so, it was a bustling all American city. And I grew up, got married. I had 5 children. Well, we were Catholic. We were cradle Catholics. The Pope said you had to have children. So we had children. What he didn't tell us was he wasn't going to help us feed them and take care of them. He was just going to make sure we had them. So much for the Pope's wisdom. At any rate, I grew up there and I raised my children partially. I raised my oldest was 18 when I left. Finally, in 1982, things were getting bad. They were having Oktoberfest with the black population was protesting and having riots, and it was starting to get a little bit iffy. And we were still pretty safe. It was still fairly, you know, diversified and everybody got along. But in 1982, my mother-in-law sent my then 14-year-old son to the laundromat to dry some towels for her. She gave him 3 dimes. He got to the laundromat, and there were 2 guys there, and they pulled out guns, and they said, "Give me all your money." He gave them the only dimes he had. They left. He went running home in tears to his grandmother and told her what happened, and she told me, and I said, things have been getting iffy. And this is just the straw that broke the camel's back. There's no way. I'm not going to keep my children here and let them grow up with all this craziness. My older ones are almost there, but I'm not going to do this to my own children. And it's been hard anyway. I mean, I was working at the hospital. I was a nurse, but I had to wait tables 4 nights a week to make ends meet. And luckily, I was able to take care of my children, but I'm going to tell you, it was a struggle. It was a real struggle. So I moved. I left. I went to the Midwest and moved my children, and unfortunately, 2 of my children didn't like it there. They were getting into drugs, and they couldn't get many there, and so they wanted to go back to the Hudson Valley where they could get them. And I was in the middle of a divorce with my husband, and they thought, well, we'll just go with dear old dad. Well, dear old dad was doing the drugs too, so it didn't make much difference. And so we called it quits. 2 of my children went back to New York and decided to make themselves a druggy life. And, there's nothing I can do about it. Do I love them? Of course I do. They're my children. But I can't change what they're doing, and it can't change what's happening because of it. And my other 3 children grew up just fine. They're doing wonderfully. Do I regret leaving the Hudson Valley? No. Do I miss it? Yes, I do. I miss the beautiful, beautiful foliage. I miss the autumn. I just get homesick for the Hudson Valley. But do I regret it? Not for one instance. I don't regret it. It was the smartest thing I ever did in my life. I was able to go back to school and get my master's degree and go on with my career. My younger children went to college. My oldest son that stayed here with me finished school, and my daughter went to college. And I was very fortunate. We were able to do things we couldn't do in the East. I mean, it was just so expensive. I was lucky to keep food on the table, clothes on their back, and doctors when we needed them. So this this was a good move for us. Now that was in 1982. That was 44 years ago. If if I'd had known what was going to happen today, I probably would have got out sooner. But today, the Hudson Valley is a wreck. New York State is a wreck. That beautiful, beautiful state that I grew up in has been destroyed. My honest opinion is when they got rid of the mafia, they got rid of all the safety because these characters wouldn't be doing what they're doing today if the mafia was around. I'll guarantee you that. And I bet they're regretting it now. But you know, I didn't know them personally, but I do know they provided some kind of security for everyone. So that's just my opinion. But now here in the Midwest, things are more reasonable. They're not as expensive. I'm not paying $500 a month for electricity. I'm not paying $400 a month for gas. I'm not paying astronomical fees for groceries. I'm not paying double for gasoline. I am living much more economically and I'm living better. I'm living in a nicer home. I couldn't afford my home in New York that looked like this. I have I just sold a 2,400 square foot home and there's no way I could have ever afforded that in New York. Uh, it's just better. It's just better all the way around. Here in Missouri, I love it. We have the foliage here, not like in the Hudson Valley, but still enough to make my heart happy. And we have police here, and it's a red state. And you know what? I lived in a blue state. I know how crazy it is. I live in a red state now, and I wouldn't have it any other way because those conservatives really do look out for our rights. And we're free to go to the grocery store, to do what we want. We don't have the craziness. The world is getting crazier. Everything is getting insane today. You look around and you think they emptied all the insane asylums and sent them all to the parks. But whatever were our politicians thinking? Or were they not thinking? And I am just, but I'm happy where I am and I don't regret it. I'm 80 years old. I'm healthy. I'm able to do everything. I know that if I'd have stayed in New York, I would have been gone by now. And that's just the fact. The stress alone would have probably killed me. And I don't have high blood pressure anymore because I don't have the stress anymore. And it's magnificent here. And I don't know how else to describe it. I'm married to a wonderful man. I have a beautiful home. I have grandchildren that are just the most amazing creatures there ever were. And I'm proud of them to the moon and back. I can't even describe the pride they give me. And so I am going to talk about Wapaho wisdom. My father once told me that, if you have knowledge, it's a wonderful thing, but it's worthless unless you share it. So that's what I am doing. And I hope to make more videos. We're going to talk about the Pope and his craziness that's going on in the church. We're going to talk about politics. Am I a Trumper? You betcha I am. And yeah, I'm a conservative. Of course, I'm a conservative. I know some of them personally, and they're great people. And so we're going to talk a little bit about politics. I'm not going to get too far into it. We're going to talk about the Pope. We're going to talk about the price of gas. We're going to talk about the economy. We're going to talk about people, people today, and how insane they are. What binary are you? What in the hell is a binary? Where I come from, you're either a male or a female. They don't even know what a woman is. They don't know what a man is either because they're walking around with waist purses. We're going to get down into the nitty gritty of some of this stuff, and I'm going to make fun of it because it really is pretty funny when you think about it. None of this stuff makes any sense. So it's got to be comedy routine. That's all it can possibly be. Why else would it exist? And I'm going to poke fun at a lot of them. And I know they're not going to like me. That's okay. Don't come to my channel. But I am going to tell you that I'm going to tell it like it is. So stay tuned, and future videos are going to be a lot of fun. Thank you for watching.